Coach Mazzone, you want to go to opening statement or right into questions?
Right into questions.
Right into questions. Start on the right side with Gabe.
Coach, how encouraged have you been in the early going with your running backs so far?
After 3 days, we got a bunch of them out there. I know that. No, I think they've, what you're always trying to do in fall camp is see what kind of retention they've got from spring ball. Obviously, when they came back, our first day out with them, I was happy and pleased with, I believe, the work they did over the summer. And so, James and Keith and Trey, now Boyd in there. So I think there's good depth there. And, yeah, there's still a lot of things we need to clean up and get better at, but, we'll get that done. But I'm really happy with them as a group, how they're practicing up to this point.
Staying in the back, Colin.
Yeah, Coach, I was curious. Back in the spring when you named Trevor the starting quarterback, what went into that decision, and what about his skill set do you feel like fits your system the best?
Well, Trevor has I like Trevor, by the way. Yeah, he's a good kid. He's come. Obviously, San Antonio kid, went to Oklahoma, played some there, and then basically he and I showed up on campus on about the same week, I think. And his progress since our first day of spring ball to this point has been maybe not what you see on film as far as the football part of it, but I've really loved the way that he's kind of embraced this football team and this program as a leader for us, because I think that's vital at that position. He's obviously one of the hardest workers we've got. I don't want to sound like cliches, but he is. He's one of the hardest workers, had a great summer. Was always around working with the other players and throwing and doing those type of things and building all that and building the bond. Now I think he's got to a point now where here in the next couple of weeks where he can start to fine tune, his quarterback playing in this offense, and I think he's beginning to do that.
Here on the far right side, Ben. We'll go to Brent.
Coach Someone talked about his decision-making in Oklahoma sometimes costing him the starting job there. I mean, have you seen that improve throughout the spring and through the fall?
His what?
His decision-making?
His decision-making.
Correct.
Yeah, protect the football and just do what the hell I tell you to do, right? Then you'll be fine. And you'll be making good decisions. No, he's been, he's obviously an older kid, more mature kid. And, I think when he first came in, he was trying to show everybody how good he was. Well, he doesn't need to show how good he is to everybody anymore. I think he just has to come in and stay in the system, play in the system. He's got some really talented tools, and weapons around him. And so if he just does a pretty good job of handing it off and throwing it to the right guys every now and then, I think we'll be all right.
Here in front, Brent, and then we'll go to Suzanne.
Coach, someone told us that when he called Coach Moore about you, his immediate response was, "Hey, we play each other in the first game, right?" Yeah. What was your impression of that? What's your take on that and facing your old team right off the bat?
It was funny because I didn't even realize that till about after I was here for about 2 weeks. And so when I talked to Jim, and I talk probably every week, Coach Mora and I are really good friends. And, I mean, it was a great experience, and having an opportunity to work 4 years with Jim. And not only is he a great football coach, but I consider him a really good friend. And so, but in this profession, that happens. It's not the first time I've lined up across the field from, somebody that I just coached for, or kids I've coached before, or against coaches I've coached with before. So it's going to be exciting.
Right on the right side, Suzanne.
In a perfect world as an offensive coordinator for this team.
That would be touchdowns every time we have the football.
Well,
okay.
Or not on every play.
Yeah.
But how fast do you want to play? How many snaps a game is good?
I don't know. Like the day and age is right tempo. Everybody wants to play fast, have tempo. It's kind of like shots on goal. The more shots on goal we have, hopefully, the more goals we can score. First ever? Yeah. Mark that down, AC. Okay, thank you. So, yeah, I mean, shoot, if I could have 105 snaps, I'll take 105 snaps. But realistically, historically in this offense, if we're hitting anywhere from the high 70s to the high 80s, then we're probably having a pretty good day.
Stay in the back, Lee.
Hey, Coach, obviously I'm sure you've seen a lot of film on Christian Kirk. You know what he can do. But at the end of last season, the last 5 conference games, he was held to no touchdowns. It seemed like the defense has kind of found a way to take him away a little bit more. I was curious, have you got any more ideas to get him the football a little bit more this year? You don't have to give away any secrets, but just in your head, is there any ways to use him differently this year that might make him more effective this year?
Oh, I don't know. We were always looking at stuff, ways to get it in the good players' hands. I mean, actually, I started recruiting Christian when he was in 8th grade from Saguaro High School in Arizona. I was at Arizona State at the time. Actually offered him as a freshman. The next year I went to UCLA and offered Christian as a freshman. And I thought I was going to get this little sucker until he came here. But it was kind of funny. Then kind of came full circle, and now I get to coach him. So I've known Christian for, I don't know what now, 6, 7 years, and have watched him play numerous times. Not only is he a really talented athlete, all right, but he's also just a super, and it really has, to me, really has a pro mentality when he attacks the game. All right, and just like in any offenses, in any kind of schemes, you kind of evaluate your personnel and what your strengths, what your weaknesses, who are the guys you want to put the ball in their hands, and he's obviously one of those guys. And so, yeah, you're always looking for different ways to create space and opportunity for a guy like that. And on top of that, though, he's going to, because of his skill set, he's going to draw a lot of attention. All right, but it's kind of cool because we got a couple other cats out there that are pretty good players too. So even though he may not be getting the ball in his hands, he's creating opportunities for other guys.
On the far right side, Ben.
Coach, kind of as a follow-up to Suzanne's question, is there a point where you're taking too many snaps offensively, and then that's a detriment to the defense? Is there a point where if y'all are off the field too fast or whatever, then the defense gets hurt?
Okay, so usually when I'm not taking enough snaps, that means the defense is on the field a long time. So no, all right.
I think I did say it backwards. So.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, but then, sometimes it's kind of in this style of offense. I mean, I think we played Colorado last year, and I think they had 105 snaps, and we had like 54, all right? And we, won the game and scored a bunch of points, all right, because sometimes, you score too quick. Well, I've never gone with that thinking, all right? To me, you can never score quick enough. All right, so I don't really concern myself. I'm not really standing there sitting on the sideline counting snaps or if I've got this many or how many they got. My job and our job on offense, all right, is to protect the football, all right, and get the ball in the end zone. Now, situationally at the end of games, yeah, obviously you want to, hang on to the football, and I don't want Chief and his guys out there for 105 snaps a game either. So, yeah, it's kind of a crazy game. Sometimes that's just the way it happens.
We'll go Sam and then over to Cease.
When discussing tempo, what's the balance between the pace and how fast you want to go versus how often you're changing personnel and packages and things of that sort? And what's that balance like for you?
Yeah, that's a good question, all right? Because those defensive guys are trying to always put in rules to slow us down, right? If it was up to them, we would get 40 snaps a game, and we'd have to be 2 tight ends, 2 backs, and run it every down, right? And then defensive guys are like fired up. That's football to them, right? Tempo, as far as speed of the game, I don't know. We want to play fast. We want to create tempo, right? We want to create space for our athletes. All right, we're not a big check team, so we're not going to, get up there and change a lot of plays in the course. All right, hopefully, we're fairly a simple team. We're going to change the play, but not change the presentation a lot of times. All right, and I'm a firm believer. There's a couple things I believe in. One is I think greatness comes from repetition. If I do it enough times, I can become pretty good at it. And the other one is that I'm a firm believer is that attitude wins football games, not schemes. Okay, so to me, that's more important. Is I want guys that play with passion, play with energy, they're enthusiastic, and guess what? They're having fun. All right, I think that's how the game should get played. Now, tempo lends itself a little bit to that. So sometimes we're going real fast, and sometimes it kind of slows down.
We'll go Cease, and then Gabe and Suzanne will wrap us up.
Coach, the tight ends you inherited here, how do they compare to possibly other spots you've been, and how do they complement your running backs and wide receivers you have here?
I'm really happy. We got Calvin and Shorp. All right. I mean, I think they're really figure into it because we do. I mean, contrary to the spread thought, right? We do like to run the football, and I'm with I'm a little bit. In fact, I think I'm older than Chief, to be honest with you. But being a 4 wide spread, fast tempo, throw it around the park. Yeah, that's fun. But I think at the end of the day, your football team has to be able to stop the run, like Chief said, and you have to be able to run the football. All right, especially when you come rolling up here in the SEC. I think that's vital. And historically, I've always had offenses that could run the football, and we were good at it. Now, there's different ways to run the football, but we've been able to do that. And so those guys are real important to what we do running the football. Football's a numbers game, right? I mean, I'm going to put this many guys in the box, and if the defense puts the same number of the guys, then I should be able to run it. Now, they put an extra guy in it, they outnumber me, then I should throw it. So it's a pretty simple game. I always kid Coach someone about the best job. The best job in America is being the tight end coach in a 4 wide receiver offense, right? That's the job I want, right? But yeah, I'm really, really happy with the 2 guys we've got, that group. Are we gonna eventually, like to get a little bit more inline guys? Yeah. I mean, I've always played with inline tight ends. Are those guys? These guys are more like, to me, the move type tight end. All right, where they're off the ball, they're athletic enough to do things like that. And so, who knows? The inline guy may be the backup tackle or something. I don't know.
We'll go on the right side, Gabe, and then Suzanne will wrap us
Noel,
up.
in your assessment, how serious is Speedy taking this thing right now? Football, this opportunity in front of him.
Speedy Noel? Oh, I think he's taking it very seriously. Yeah, I've been really happy with Speedy in this camp so far. I mean, he's doing the work. He's engaged. He's putting the work in not only on the field but in the classroom. And taking notes and doing all the things that he should be doing at this point. So yeah, I'm really excited about Speed. I'm excited about that whole group of kids, to be honest with you. It's really a fun group to coach, and right? It's like anything, right? You write a story, you want it to be important to somebody. Okay, so I mean, I think it's important to these guys.
Suzanne?
Philosophically, what offensive coaches, like-minded offensive coaches, do you see out there that you belong to the offensive club?
Coach someone.
And besides,
that's okay. You went philosophically. I went politically.
Politically, totally understand
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
But I mean, well, because someone's got part of his roots. He had Cliff Kingsbury, Dana Holgerson, people like that. It's like, what kind of club are you in besides a political club?
I'm sorry, but that was a pretty good answer. I had. Yeah. Yeah, you talk about Cliff and Dana and Summy and Mike Leach and Hal, Mummy. Like I said, I'm a little bit older, so like I started. If you want to know about me, I kind of grew up on Dennis Erickson, one-back offense, Jack Elway. That's kind of where I really learned about the one-back zone schemes and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, Coach Sumlin and I go back way back, and so we were kind of more in that school. That's a little bit of his background. Also, Mike Price. That kind of family. All right, and actually, Summy, Coach Sumlin is one of the, him and probably Leach and Hal and those guys were some of the first ones to really start the whole spread tempo stuff. And because of Summy's and I's relationship, obviously there was a lot of crossover there. So I would say that group, I was kind of like the old grandfather in that group that hung out with those guys. Yeah, somebody's got to be that guy, right?
All right. Thank you for the time, Coach. Appreciate it.
All right, guys.